Armor is playing the Pike, so they're just going to play into it. Now, I am assuming it is going to be mid. Tristana mid is much more common. It's a lot easier to kind of stay safe in that mid lane than in a long extended lane with this marksman. But you do have some really strong early aggressive matchups. Almost always you're going towards Hail of Blade unless you want to kind of index towards later on. But with Hail of Blade and Ignite, you do have the potential to all in very early. If you can get lane pressure, we know how Tristana can farm these turret plates. But that being said, if you do misstep against a Galio J4, that is a duo that can punish you very, very heavily. And if Triss gets behind early in that mid lane, you can start feeling pretty useless.
When I look at this G2 draft, I think it's very simplistic in its approach. And when we think back to their playoff run, it is very straightforward, easy to execute, with a lot of early game options as well. In particular, you can see with the mobility on Targamas and his Pike and the J4 being able to be active in the early game, G2 do have early game options, prioritizing their scaling team fighting later. I think what is terrifying about this T1 draft is they have very dominant laners all across the board. They have an ability to build their own advantages off their own champions. On top of that, a huge amount of skill expression exists all across the board with things like the Xayah ultimate, the Gwen W, a lot of ways to avoid and disengage away from a lot of the dive that will exist. So even if G2 are able to find these fights, I think that T1 have options, even if on paper, it seems that G2 will be favored in the 5v5.
I mean, so much of it is going to be about the initial seconds of the fight, because if G2 don't find that perfect engage, there's Buster Shot and Rocket Jump from Tristana, there's the ultimate from Xayah, there's the disengaging ultimate there from Renata. You know, if you're trying to dive through that, you all get caught up in that. You are going to get shredded. It can become very, very difficult. So G2 have got to be on point. You know, hit that perfect engage, have the follow-up, try to get that first kill with the Pike, and we'll see if they can do it.
Yeah, well, here we are. Game number 1. T1 versus G2 here at the MSI 2022 knockout stage. Both of these teams, this series just means so much. G2, can they do it again in a best of 5? Can T1 really prove that this is the new look for the squad and they can get all of those former shadows away? Gumushi going to walk away from G2 here, spotted for a second there by Caps, but it looks like he will be okay. Flaps his way out.
So T1, they have information on this, and you can immediately see the cross map. Trying to get a little bit of information on G2's topside jungle. Will G2 look to split the map here? Or are they just going to drop a bit of vision and then disengage?
Looks like they will. I mean, they're staying around a long time. They definitely want to go split map. This is actually very similar, but on opposite sides of the map to what happened in their second round robin game, where it was, you know, Jankos playing top half split map towards Broken Blade on the GP, and it was T1 playing down towards their bottom lane, you know, trying to get Gumayushi ahead. So we'll see now, you know, with Jankos playing more towards that bottom side, you know, T1 have the info. We are very likely going to end up in that cross-map situation, and we're going to have to find out how well can Broken Blade really withstand the onslaught, because he's the one that's going to be left to his own devices trying to survive up there.
And we've seen it's been difficult on both sides of this matchup. They are certainly knowing this one very, very well. Gentlemen, I do want to draw your attention to that mid lane.
Draw away.
It is our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. And Faker, having paid about 72 unique champions so far in his career, he does have some stats on Tristana. Currently undefeated, 4-0. My kind of sample size. It's a very, very low one. It was a couple of years ago that he played it last, but does have some experiences. We also have a fight on the bottom side of the map. Targamas, though, he's going down very, very low. The Ignite is ticking. Gumayushi going to have to back away, though. And it looks like the Pike will slink into Fog of War and heal up.
G2 able to get level 2 first there and going for the aggressive all-in. This is something they've been really consistent with when they have that Pike. They want to look for the early kills, but it is now Pike without summoners. But trading summoners like this aggressively when it is split map and your junglers on your side is great for G2, because Gumayushi now down flash could fall prey to a Jankos gank.
Exactly that. Azael, and I think it's important to recognize that, you know, Alice wanted to talk about this mid lane matchup, but we have to keep our eyes on bot, because G2's whole game plan here has been about trying to shut this bot lane down. Jankos will be spotted on a ward. Oh no, we'll have information on this
as well. Yeah, they don't actually spot it. Jankos will just start off on the croak.
But they're setting up for the dive, potentially, with the wave beginning to stack up. Of course, mid won't be able to roam down. Caps does have the TP, but won't really be able to leverage it this early on. Broken Blade is the person we have to keep our eyes on as he runs out of mana and only looks for the dive.
Yeah, they have Ignite.
We'll see whether they can navigate this one. Stun does come through. Broken Blade burning down. That is going to be first blood. The flash comes in. Can Caps chase after him, though? 300 health on the Viego as he tries to get the stab through. It's a decent attempt for a stun, but Owner is going to be taken down. Xayah's no flash, of course, and Caps is going to walk it out. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Gumayusi. What is happening down here? Carry is looking for the last shot. Fake is going to pick up the kill in the end, and that's a double for the best player in the world.
It's madness across the map here. 5 kills, 4 minutes in. T1, G2. We have to take stock of everything here that has happened, though. Caps TPing up towards that top side, does get a kill and gets out, but he's dropping waves to do it. Faker was able to push in the wave, go towards bot, get 2 kills. So to me, the big winner by far here is Faker in the mid lane. And we'll have to see if G2 on the other side can really make use of this 1 kill that they got flak at, because he is now quite ahead of Gumayusi, who lost that farm on the dive and did not get a kill himself.
Yeah, a lot of things that, as Ale highlighted, just happened in a very short period of time. I'm curious as to where the replay is going to start. So we're going to have a look at this bot lane. As you can see, a level advantage for G2. The aggro starts by being taken by Targamas. Then they're going to set up the focus onto Gumayusi, but the damage onto Jankos and the fact that Flakked can't kill Gumayusi quickly enough means the Faker has enough time to get down here, and look, he's in the perfect position to set up for these 2 kills. Throws the Ignite down onto Flakked. Carrier's going to throw down those auto attacks to help secure that kill, and Faker's going to shut down onto Jankos. So just really good response there from Faker. The dive didn't go out the way in which G2 wanted, and on the top side of the map, T1 pulled off a well-executed dive themselves. So T1 with a very big lead already.
But they're looking for a repeat now. They know the summoners are still down on Gumayusi. Caps, though, spotted out, and Owner going to intercept here, make things a little bit awkward as Faker's now cheating down. They're going to collapse.
Carry's going to handshake Caps here. He's looking to try and get out. The blast cone's going to disappear, though, and he does have the taunt, but that's exactly what T1 wanted, I think. Faker's going to jump over the wall, and it's just a matter of a few seconds. Can these double buffs actually be taken here by T1? As Faker, I think, should be able to get an auto in. Oh! It is going to be Owner that locks down the kill, so claims the double buffs, and Faker looked like he didn't want to take it.
Well, I think it was one of those situations where there's never really a bad one, right? Either your jungler's get the double buffs refreshed, or the mid laner gets another kill. But the fact that G2, they keep trying to attack the spot lane and the action continues.
Yeah, Flakked taking a fair bit of damage here as Targamas is going to disappear for a moment. Owner's down here as well, though. And it feels like both of these teams just testing each other at every single turn.
Yeah, absolutely. They're both fully down to scrap here. You know, Faker, I think he would have liked the kill, but probably would have had to commit his flash to get it and just decided it's not really worth expending that flash to do so. We'll hold on to it. He is getting very far ahead of Caps, though, because Caps has been aggressively roaming and is in this counter matchup. But we can see Jankos now out around mid, and Faker is very far pushed up with no wards. So potentially they could make something happen, but it looks like Jankos is heading to bot.
Yeah, Flacked's in a little bit of trouble here. His owner's going to rotate over, looking for some vision. That control ward is going to spot him out as he makes his way in. Jankos as well, completely unseen right now as Faker moves himself out of the brush. That control ward would spot the Jarvan if he was going to come in, but right now going to stay in Fog of War. Explosive charge onto Caps. It's just such a difficult matchup here for the Galio.
The experience difference is really starting to build, though, especially along with the gold lead that T1 have been able to accrue. Notice that there's a jungle experience lead, of course the mid experience lead, as Azale was already highlighting, with Caps roaming around the map so much. The bot lane, given that they've been able to weather the storm, have done a really good job, and it surprises me because when we think about expectations coming into this matchup, T1 was expected to get this early game lead, especially with the draft that they have drafted for themselves. The fact that G2 trying to be so aggressive in the early game to try and match and challenge this, they had a very clear game plan of attack the bot side of the map. But now I'm worried for G2 because this early game style is not something that we typically see from them. This level of aggression is not something that we often see from them. And now it's only going to make those team fights that they want to play towards even harder.
It absolutely is. And we know that T1 is just so deadly with a lead. In 9 out of their 10 Rumble games, they were able to grab that first Herald. In 10 out of their 10 Rumble games, they were able to secure first tower, never once giving up a tower pre-14 of their own. And when T1 gets ahead and they're able to grab the Herald, they can snowball that game very, very quickly. Faker already has the push here. He's got about a plate and a bit down on that mid lane tower. If he gets a bit more chip damage, that's dead to the Herald.
Yep, but you have to remember that in the first game, these two teams faced off in 5,000 gold was the advantage that T1 managed to accrue in the early stage of the game, and that seemed to be G2's sweet spot. I remember that. I was there, and it hurt my feelings just a little bit. Yeah, it's certainly something that history has denoted before, but G2 now looking for an opportunity on the bottom side. Gumayusi and Carrier not going to give them that one, but red and white guns going to tear through that turret beautifully here for Flacket. And G2 look to have the game plan of we're going to try and get our bot lane as far ahead as we possibly can, and then hope that we can win these later game team fights.
So I like the initial decision from G2. I like the response from T1 even more. Dropping the Herald mid, I think makes so much sense because it gives you so much more map control, and Faker's ability to siege is super strong as they look for another dive.
Yeah, Cataclysm's going to start this one up as Jankos trying to get out of there, is going to survive for now. Gumayusi looking to get out. The Ignite is ticking down, but it looks like he might have got himself to relative safety. No, the answer is absolutely not, and it's a great dive to come on through. Even though G2 punch each other just a little bit on the way out, it's not going to be enough to turn it.
But look at mid lane. They got 2 towers, 2 full towers there. Faker, if we get a look at the gold lead, is going to be astronomically ahead. Already has the mythic complete here. Well, Caps has got some steel shoes and a Kindle gem.
And you look at Broken Blade as well. He can't approach that tower because of the control that T1 have in mid. The threat of a dive is very real, so he's going to lose a whole wave off the back of that. Zeus is building a level lead. The jungle lead is starting to build. And yes, G2 are finding advantages towards the bot side of the map. Flackhead is getting very far ahead, but the rest of the map going in favor of T1.
Yeah, critical that Gumayusi did hit 6 prior to this dive going off. Right on that last minion, flashes out, looking like, hey, he might have been able to get away, but Flacket connects with the ult on Carrier under the tower, finishes him off.
Really nice sidestep from Carrier there. Props to him, making it that bit harder for Flacket to secure that kill. And huge props to the T1 bot lane, because really that's their first loss of the game in terms of the aggression that they've experienced in the bot side of the map. They've weathered the storm about as well as they could, but the good news for them is the rest of the map is going exceptionally well for T1. So yes, Gumayusi, you have been attacked a lot, but the good news for you is you've got Faker and Zeus sitting in a very comfortable spot.
They drafted the contingency plan.
Yeah.
You have 2 marksmen. If one is behind, you got the other.
That's exactly what I was talking about. And I can feel the sighs of relief from our analysts that are just back there saying, oh yeah, they always have a plan for if something's being taken cross-map. I said that before. You know, we've been saying it all tournament. It's meantime, there's a fight here towards the bottom side. Nice sidestep there from Gumayusi, still being able to weave through these autos. Ona turns up as well. Targamas in trouble, but is going to stay alive for now. Gumayusi not going to be able to find that kill and will be taken down. G2 now happy with what they've taken. Faker moving on in. It's a flash forward. It's Jankos going to get handshook out of that opportunity. Faker's going to pick up the kill as he dives on in, and he's not going to be over hungry to pick up more of these resets as T1 answer back.
What a play by Carrier, though. The timing on the handshake, yanking Jankos back here right as Faker arrives. So T1 get the return kill. They're pushing in. And they're 8 and oh my god, they're so far ahead already. 4,500.
So many plates. It's more than a kitchen here towards the bottom side, as that is going to be the ulti going wide from Carrier. Unfortunately, Faker decent sidestep on the Winds of War. The G2 tidy up the minion wave, and they're not going to lose too many more of those plates bottom lane.
Okay, I feel like there was a movie about bullets bending.
Yeah, Wanted.
I feel like all of the
Great
skills
movie.
are just bending around T1 because they're sidestepping everything. Okay, it's disgusting to watch how good they are at dodging all of these skills. But such a well-executed early game once again from T1. And, we talked about it yesterday on the analyst test. The analyst talked about it again today. Trying to fight this team in the early game is a very difficult thing to do. Look at how much they're sidestepping. Gumayusi going to see the EQ, sidestep that once again. And the props to him. There's only so much he can do, and this much is thrown at him. But the response from T1 is equally as strong.
I mean, it's incredible, right? Like, it should have just been a super easy free kill, but they're able to avoid the pike hook. They're able to avoid the knockup. We can see in the replay, Broken Blade going to get away, but there is that handshake pulling him back. And Faker comes in with the Gale Force active, gets that kill. They secure the Dragon. I was going to say 8 plates, but they made a liar out of me as they grabbed another plate top. So they're up to at least, I think, 9 now at this point.
Yep, Zeus also going to make it out before the ward comes down. So he's going to escape unscathed. 3-0-0 on the Tristana. And I love this, because the bottom lane was getting talked up so much coming into MSI, of course, for T1. Gumayusi Carrier, best bottom lane in the world. I was one of the people on tape saying that. And it looks like G2 got the memo. They're like, well, we're going to take down this best bottom lane in the world. And you know what that means? That means Faker's 3-0-0 with a billion farm left completely on his own to wipe out every plate on the map. It's absurd. Gets another full tower here on the bottom side of the map before plates go down.
And it's just such a smart pick. You know, coming into yesterday's series, I was thinking if we were going to see this kind of matchup, it would be against Xiaohu because he's such a Galio guy. He's known for it.
You can imagine they were ready for the Galio matchup, right?
Yeah, exactly. But we didn't get to see that. And then here, you know, G2, I think less expected that they would just be slapping down the Galio this early. But T1 very clearly ready with the game plan. It has worked out incredibly well. Both their marksmen now on Gale Force here. You can see despite all of the effort to put Flacket ahead, Gumayushi is right up there with him. He is 600 gold down, but he has the same items in inventory right now. And T1 have opened up a nearly 6,000 gold lead here, not even 14 minutes into the game.
Half of that's on Faker.
And the thing I want to really iterate here is that T1 didn't even do much to set Faker up to get that. It was very much a G2's early game proactivity, Faker was just the recipient of. All those bot lane dives, sure, I'll roam bot, I'll pick myself up a couple kills. Oh, Caps, you don't want to be in lane? That's fine. I'll take your plates, I'll take your towers. And it's literally just been T1 punishing all of the decisions that G2 has been making in this early game. And this was one of the big concerns I had for trying to match this team in the early game, because T1, regardless of what you tried to do to them, within the first 15 minutes of the game, they have a plan, they have a response, and they will look to punish you for every small mistake you make.
Well, Cannon Barrage available here for Broken Blade, but they're not going to go for it. Faker is going to make it out. Just a rocket jump required as they look for this Herald.
And one of the most impressive things about T1 to me is that just through pure laning skill, they're often able to get advantages on both sides of the map when it's really supposed to be a trade, right? You're supposed to trade Dragons on bot side for Herald and a gold lead on top side. But T1 is able to outplay in so many situations and have so many incredible individuals as far as the laning goes that, you know, really, it was a split map, bot side advantage for G2. All Owner did top was one quick dive and then a left Zeus alone, and then he was just covering bot on the other side of the map. You know, he was able to really reduce the advantages that G2 could get because he was so efficient with his gank top and so effective with his pathing towards bot.
Yeah, and this is actually what Faker is doing here with the mid lane Tristana is what we see so many Tristanas do. It's very similar to why Caitlyn is so popular in the LCK. You rotate her to every lane that has a turret that's accessible and you destroy all of them. This is something that DRX was very good at doing alongside Deft. They would just move. Is it just he's a demolition machine. That's all that Tristana is supposed to do. And then Faker hoovers up all of that money, and that trough that we talk about doesn't exist. He has 11 items by like 20 minutes in the game, and then it is over. And so far, that game plan has been completely unhindered.
So the thing I now have to kind of bring our attention to is this T1 mid game.
Yeah.
You are quite familiar with it, Atlas.
Post 20 minutes is a danger zone.
That's why I was getting in all my positives.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking at the clock.
But you know, it's my time to strike.
That's the thing. And that's the thing I want to keep reminding people, of course, right now, T1 look very much in control. And on paper, the argument would be, this is T1's game to lose. And I think we can all agree with that, especially with their position and their ability to siege. So the question is, can they do it cleanly? Because the criticism and the reason why they looked weaker during the first stage of the Rumble was because they would get these leads and then they would get overeager to try and force fights, they would rush Baron, they would flip Baron, became a bit of the meme during the Rumble stage, and so as we transition into this mid-game, scrutiny and the eyes are going to be on this mid-game and T1's ability to use this lead to close out the game clean.
I think one of the most atypical and interesting stats from the Rumble stage was that every team that took a Baron against T1 was actually behind in gold when they did it. Not one team took a Baron from ahead in gold, and that kind of speaks, I think, to some of the problems that they were having around Baron. Also, the vast majority of the kills against T1 post 20 minutes also at the Baron pit. So they definitely had some troubles there. But we also saw in the last match that they had against G2, they kind of used some of their faults at the Baron to bait G2 into actually face checking them, right? Because everyone was thinking, all right, well, G2, here they go. T1's over at the Baron. Time to get a free ace in a Baron, get right back into it. And T1 didn't even start it up in that case. They really played into the fact that they had made those previous mistakes. So we'll see if they can actually do that again and remain very, very clean, because they are just monstrously ahead. 7,000 gold, 17 minutes is a shellacking, and it's going to take some real playmaking from G2 to try to crawl their way back into this one.
It's certainly a toughie, but I was going to talk about like the down 6,000 gold power spike for G2 and things like that, but it's, you know, moving ever further towards closer to 7 right now. That is 2 Drakes behind, as well as the Hextech Soul coming in. I got excited for a moment, but then I was unexcited afterwards as the clouds
feel
dissipated.
the wind in your hair.
I certainly did, you know.
That was me, actually. I was just breathing.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you whether you felt it as well, but
Is that how you breathe?
I was blowing on him, you know. It's just a little.
Yeah.
Cooling
But
down.
I liked it a lot.
Maybe I'm really excited if NA wins the game.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what the time is.
Hyperventilating a little bit, you know.
Yeah, distracting you guys with a little bit.
Calm down. It's okay.
Zeus now should be able to swag his way out of that one totally fine. But you can see how much control T1 have over the map once again. G2 is looking for a pick here and there, but I don't think Targamas wants to take that fight. And I just want to bring attention to the number of towers that are up and available right now. There is a lot of standing gold, I would say, for G2 to grab. The question is, can they grab it? As an ultimate comes in from Jankos.
Yeah, that is a Cataclysm come down. Great handshake does come through there as Caps does try to get out the taunt, but he's not going to be able to find it. The Gale Force is going to be able to keep Gumayusi alive. Caps flashes away, but Faker just assassinates Blacken in the backline. Targamas trying to get out of there now as well as the resets will come in. Jankos is lying on the ground, and this taunt is not going to work. The Heartbreaker is going to come through, but Oner's going to get taken down. Caps goes golden again at exactly the right time. Zeus now wrapping around Carrier, moving in, flashes forward, doesn't get the handshake though, as Broken Blade melee range against this Renata, but it looks like Carrier doesn't really mind. Zeus is so scary, but the top lane, they're losing everything. This is why I keep casting team fights, and the whole base is exploding.
T1 are winning on the other side of the map. A very scrappy fight here between G2 and T1, but T1 taking the Hex Gates, they grab that top inhib, and they are getting further and further ahead here. Really close fight, but you can just see the gold lead for Faker. I mean, look at mid lane. It's 5,000 gold individually ahead there. Everyone is paper to Faker here. He's got the BF gold. He already has his crit cloak, so not too far off getting that IE at this point.
It's once again a situation where T1 is just the recipient of G2's decision-making. G2 feel pressured, and they go to try and make a pick happen. The ultimate comes through. I mistakenly believe that move is a flash for some reason. And in any case, G2, look at how aggressive they are in the bot lane once again, where there's the storm. Gumayusi and Carrier just buy time, and then look at this play from Faker. The combo was beautiful. The flash from the hook as well helps secure the kill. Broken Blade's not even there to assist, and again, like, T1 didn't have to do anything there. They just responded to the plays being made by G2, and they were the benefactor of the play.
Absolutely, and I mean, a lot of the plays start to look bad when you're this far down, right?
Yeah.
Because there's just so few options. I respect G2, you know, going for that winning play, and I think to actually play to win in this game, you've got to just constantly look for picks, hope that there's mistakes on the T1 side, so they go for this aggressive play. Doesn't quite work out for them because T1 is in the area, can collapse and really punish. And even the top lane becomes quite concerning now when you see the second item is already through there for Zeus. Second item in for Gumayusi, albeit a cheaper build than what Flacket has, but he's really kind of back to parity. And Faker only needs a couple hundred gold here for his IE, and then he is just going to be completely uncontested on the map.
Yeah, if he's not already at this stage of the game. The IE does come on through. Oner also sitting on a couple of items. That is a full completed item ahead of Jankos on the other side of the rift. This is getting, the amount of surmountability is not very high for G2 at this stage. 8.5 thousand gold in the lead. But this is exactly the time that G2 might have a chance as T1 are ripping through this Baron. Jankos is inside the pit. Can he make it a 50-50? No, he can't keep himself alive. The ult from Renata will make sure no one can answer. The Baron comes through, and T1, I think they're just a little too far ahead.
T1 tear through G2. They kill off Jankos before he has any chance to steal here. And now with the Baron buff and the super minions coming in top lane, it's looking like it could be a 22-minute end.
An absolute slaughter from the side of T1 as the 5 members make their way towards the first Nexus of potentially many as they're looking to secure game 1 in this best of 5.
Yeah, at least another couple of Nexi will go down, but Broken Blade on the fountain looking to try and push them away. One Nexus turret is going to stay up as all of T1 take a little bit of a Hextech ride to get themselves back towards the base. They'll grab a reset before they try to end.
Wow, they must be really good friends with Jace that they can all get a premium pass out of base like that.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty convenient. But G2, this is going to give them a small mercy. They will not lose their base just yet. The potential to find that miracle fight still exists, but a miracle is exactly what it must be to turn this game around.
He's hex gating in blind.
We're just hex gating. We're just, like, they're just beelining towards the G2 base right now. Targamas on a control ward, so he's going to be all right. But it looks like T1 will detour to the Drake.
Who needs wards when you are the ward?
Yeah, exactly.
I am become the vision.
What do I got to be scared of if I can just check with my wallet, right?
Yep.
They just walk in there, secures the vision.
Slap it down.
And now they're making their way towards the base of G2 once again. T1 with a dominant first game. And again, what's incredible is they really didn't have to do a lot. They just waited for G2 to do things, and then they punished the things.
Yeah, and it worked out very, very well. I think the Tristana pick was fantastic from Faker. G2 deciding not to move the Galio elsewhere. Zeus is just going to dash out of the way, the flag and drag. Multiple turrets going down at the same time. They are going to do this one by the book as the inhibitor falls on the bottom side of the map. G2, all 5 are alive, but the wallets are just feeling a little thin. Caps now looking for his opportunity, does find the taunt. Winds of War comes through, but the Justice Punch is only going to move him further into danger. He goes golden to see his death for a moment, but T1 will be able to take him down. They'll look for this mid turret as Jankos in the middle of his Cataclysm is just going to die. And I think that's going to spell the end finally here as the Bone Skewer comes forward. Faker will get taken down, but Flacket is going to get answered immediately. And remember, T1 have a backup 80 carriers. Gumayushi's going to be able to pick up a few extra autos before destroying this Nexus. And honestly, this game 1 felt personal on the side of T1, and we'll see whether G2 can answer back in game 2.
The game plan was very clear from G2 in how they attacked the bot lane, but the bot lane of T1 did a fantastic